Morning, everyone. It's Joe Waxman, and I'm back with another video. This morning, I would like to look at the chart of renowned American actor and filmmaker John Wayne. So John Wayne, I think we all know him from classic American Westerns. Huge actor in the golden age of Hollywood, as it's known. Born May 26, 1907 at 5 a.m. in Winterset, Iowa. And this chart is rectified, by the way, just in case anyone's wondering. Interestingly enough, he was born Marion. That was his first name, and he obviously did not feel comfortable with that name, and gained the nickname Little Duke initially, and then it became Duke. And then after he started making films, the Hollywood execs at Fox Studios changed his name to John Wayne. Well, he wasn't even there, and he just kept it. So interesting. Yeah. Alrighty. Sun is conjunct ascendant in Gemini. That's very, very powerful. Any planet that's conjunct the ascendant is going to be really, really strong. Mercury is also in Gemini, along with Pallas and Pluto. Gemini, obviously, is fantastic for any sort of communication, writing, speaking, expressing. And the first house ascendant is, again, Sun on the ascendant. If it's Sun on the ascendant, Sun on the MC, or Sun on the descendant, even Sun on it's on any one of the angles, it's going to be really supercharged. And Sun on the ascendant is much better than Sun on the descendant in general for strength of the planet, dignity. Sun on the MC is also quite good, but and fifth and ninth also quite good. That's a very, very strong Sun, and it's 1 degree from the ascendant. So it's, Sun in Gemini, it's dispositor. Mercury is also in Gemini, a few degrees away. That's combust, but it is strong in Gemini. His first house, Pluto's 22 degrees, so that's a ways away. Not exactly a tight conjunction, but it's still in the first house. So his first house is super strong, right? We got Sun and Mercury and Pluto all in Gemini. And Mercury in Gemini is further strengthening both of these. Mercury also gains dignity, gains strength in the first house, especially. It's extremely strong in the first house in Gemini. Sun conjunct Gemini is going to give him, or Sun conjunct Mercury is going to give him very rough speech, right? And he has that. Like he was aggressive, John Wayne. He was aggressive. Right? He had a drinking and smoking habit, much like I used to have, not anymore. Body can't handle it. But he was a mean drunk. They would say, according to what I read on Wikipedia, and not everything can be believed on Wikipedia. I know that from firsthand experience. However, they said on Wikipedia that they would have to shoot his movies in the morning because after noon, he would turn into a mean drunk. Which is funny. I don't know. Probably not funny for them. It's funny for me to hear about it. Anyway, Pluto in the first house, adding a lot of power. He's just this dynamo guy, and he's going to say stuff. He's always like, if you read like the old quotes of like John, he's just very, like typical Gemini. He'll just, say all kinds of stuff, and it'll be very quote worthy. He's very witty, right? John Wayne is very witty. He's always saying stuff and being kind of, funny, classy, but hard and mean at the same time, potentially. Anyway, he's got a Scorpio moon in the 6th house. Ouch is all I can say. This moon is ready to fight. It is Scorpio moon's debilitated. Moon's debilitating in Scorpio. The 6th house is the house of conflict and resolution, yeah, health and healing. But in Scorpio, this is a fighting moon. This is an aggressive moon. This is a moon that will fight you, right? I mean, make no mistake. Gemini can fight too, because Gemini naturally has Scorpio. I mean, Scorpio's in the sixth house. This is a fighter, right? In the movies and in real life. I mean, John Wayne's no joke. I mean, you know, he'll verbally assault you if you get on his bad side, especially in the afternoon when he's all liquored up. Not so good for inner peace. Not surprised he was an alcoholic and a smoker addict, addicted to cigarettes. He had lung cancer, and they had to remove one of his lungs and like 3 ribs or something, and he cured it. Eventually, he succumbed to stomach cancer and died. No doubt heavily contributed by cigarettes. And the sixth house, obviously, debilitated moon in the sixth house, not great at all. Sixth house ruler by this quadrant, this is Venus. Venus is in the 12th house in Taurus, so Venus is quite good, but 12th house is not good. Here, so like this is secret indulgence, hidden indulgence, escapism, loving all the the hidden, like in Taurus it's going to be more physical, but 12th house it's going to be indulgent, it's going to be secretive. I mean, drinking, smoking, sex, he just loved all that stuff, right? I mean, that's a combination. The disturbed mind is disturbed in Scorpio in the sixth house. It's never at peace, really. It's always like working and fighting, and then the sixth house cusp is Venus in Taurus. So what he loves is drinking and smoking and escaping reality. So there's that. He has this very unusual Chiron. I'm not going to lie. It's in the 10th house, conjuncting the MC in Aquarius. The most unusual thing about it is that it's stationary, right? If you look at his planets, only Uranus is retrograde, everything's direct. Chiron had just turned, it's stationary retrograde, so it's just barely retrograde, -9. It's super slow, right? So that means it's powerful, and the position is extremely powerful. By the way, while we're here, Mars is the most out of bounds planet. So Mars is naturally the fighter. And then Jupiter is just about out of bounds, and so is Uranus. But first, let's look at this Chiron. Chiron's the wounded healer. And Chiron is a centaur who was rejected by his mother at birth and then later shot in the leg by Heracles through poison that he made. But Chiron is a teacher and a shaman and a wise man. So it's very interesting to see this so prominent, conjunct as MC, because I don't normally think of Chiron, or we don't normally think of Chiron as some sort of like actor or tough guy or anything like John Wayne. I would never think Chiron and John Wayne, let's put it that way. I would never connect those two. But oddly enough, Chiron is very, very strong in his chart and conjunct the MC in Aquarius. So there's something here, something maybe that we're collectively missing about Chiron, or that's something that I'm just not quite getting right about the significance of Chiron. Not sure. I mean, this could be a very sensitive point for him. I know Chiron creates a lot of sensitivity because the wounds, right? The wounds, the rejection. So he could have a very hyper sensitivity towards public view, or how he's viewed in public, right? That might be the case. Although I did not come across anything that would say that, but I'm very inexperienced with John Wayne. I mean, I was never like a huge John Wayne fan. He was a little before my time, or a lot before my time. Well, a little before my time. In some cases, a lot before my time too. But anyway, there's something really interesting about this Chiron, and I think no doubt it did help him. It's trine Pluto. I think it's prominent. I think it helped elevate him in his career. I mean, this first house is phenomenal, so we can't discount that. His Mars in the eighth house is exalted in Capricorn. Chiron is square the moon, so that also in the moon's in Scorpio. So he really did have some like deep sensitivities going on where he was just drinking and smoking to cover it up and being kind of like a mean jerk, but extremely talented and witty and likable, lovable, incredible stage presence, all that, but definitely some difficulties and like, ouch, don't touch John Wayne the wrong way because he will hurt you, right? Chiron square moon in Scorpio, sixth house. Wow. And then we get into this. Mars is conjunct Uranus in Capricorn and South Node. I mean, this Mars is phenomenally strong. It's in the eighth house, although it's conjuncting the ninth house cusp. Uranus is in the eighth house, and then South Node's in the ninth house. But this is the eighth sign, so we're getting eighth, ninth signification here. A lot of power, a lot of strength. Eighth, a dignified Mars, a Mars in Capricorn is going to be very controlled, right? But it's going to have tons of force and authority, right? So here in the eighth house, in the house of power and dominance and strength, it's really like a formidable position, especially conjunct Uranus, okay? Because Uranus is shocking. So here I could see really, and South Node shows like innate skill that he's born with, that he came in with. South Node conjunct Mars shows a certain reluctance to fight, but definitely a very strong ability. So he's not going to outright go and like attack people, but you say the wrong thing to him, watch out. Like he's got like not just the mouth on him with this presence, with the Gemini, with the Sun and the Mercury and the Pluto. He's got this dignified Mars conjunct Uranus in the eighth house. He just come at you with a force that will hurt, right? And the Scorpio moon. I mean, the thing that I'm realizing about actors and actresses is that they're playing themselves essentially. They're not getting away with anything that they're not. They're not going to be like, they're not going to play like cowboys and, law people like Clint Eastwood, also a Gemini, by the way. These tough guys, they're not going to be successful in their roles unless they have that kind of energy. John Wayne had this tremendous, strong energy that was just like so forceful and so like we love John Wayne as long as we're on his side. Like you don't want to be the enemy of John Wayne because he will just come at you with this horrible force of energy that's just overwhelming and maybe not physically violent, although I think he probably could be physically violent if he wanted to be. Like if somebody said the wrong thing to John Wayne, he'd come at you with a haymaker and knock you the fuck out. I really think that's quite possible. He's got an exalted Jupiter. I mean, come on, Jesus Christ, this guy's like so well dignified planets. I mean, Jupiter's exalted. This first house is phenomenal. Mars is exalted. Moon's debilitated, but Venus is in domicile, although 12th house. But so Jupiter is exalted conjunct Neptune. Neptune's the planet for that we'd want to see active for anything to do with film, actors, artistry, creativity, fantasy, anything like that, right? And Neptune's being strengthened by the exalted Jupiter. They're very tightly conjunct. This is a very big sort of conjunction, because Jupiter expands everything and Neptune's already kind of nebulous, like way out there into the nether realm, the spiritual. So it's like a very expansive conjunction in the second house. Second house is voice. So a lot of times you will see second house planets with actors, because their voice needs to be really strong. It's not just about singing the second house. It's any type of speaking role, you want to see second and third house active. North node's in the third house by quadrant. Still second sign though. So we're getting second, third house significations here. And this opposite, this Uranus, Mars is a little wider, but really strongly this Uranus. So that's interesting. The Uranus is going to make him very dynamic, very interesting. Uranus is just a fascinating planet wherever it is. It's electric, it's dynamic, it's going to be phenomenally interesting, because it's just like the explosion of awareness and the lightning strike. So whatever it does, however it's interacting with the planets, it's just going to be powerful and dynamic and excellent, like in a I guess Uranus is not always excellent, because it can mean shocks and accidents and things like that. But for us, if it's making good aspect to some of those planets, like this second, eighth house, it's influencing his speech. It's making him more dynamic, explosive, interesting, as far as a performer. And then we're bringing in the Mars, exalted Mars signification here as well. Saturn is in Pisces. Pisces is naturally the sign of, again, like ruled by Neptune. So it's like film, fantasy, illusion, delusion. So movies, creativity, all of that. Saturn's authority. Saturn restricts and delays wherever it is in the house. So this is in the 11th house. It's 10th sign, but 11th house. So it's going to somewhat delay his career, or career success rather, but also elongate it, endure it, make it long lasting. So I think it took him some time to gain traction, even though his career took off fairly young, making movies. There was some delay as far as, popularity. 11th house deals with popularity, groups, networks, and career success, not necessarily the career itself, but the success of the career, the gains of the career, the money from the career. So that's going to be a little bit delayed for him. Don't know the details very much about that, but it's also going to endure it. So, he's going to be a long-lasting success, right? And he is. I mean, we're still talking about him, and that's not the case with all the actors, actors, actresses. Some just fade away into obscurity. Not John Wayne. He's got long-lasting career success. Saturn is square to Pluto, so this is incredibly a very driven aspect. The Pisces is going to subdue it somewhat, because Pisces, things get lost in Pisces. Pisces is a more, ethereal, spiritual, creative sign, and Gemini is it's not a fixed sign. They're both mutable. So this is going to be driven, but in a very adaptable way, because these are both mutable signs. So it's kind of like this drive that will make, it's not fixed, it's not hard, and it's not forceful or violent. It's passive. It's a passive drive. But Pluto square Saturn still is incredibly strong and incredibly, in other words, because Saturn is in the position it's in relating to its career. Saturn normally relates to his career. Pluto's in the first house. It's going to drive him to be very productive in work. Even though it's passive in a sense, it's still passive. It's still very forceful, aggressive, powerful, driving, serious. And he made a lot of films. He made a phenomenal, like, I don't know how many films he's made. Like, there's between TV and film, I think it was like 170 something. I don't know, something crazy like that, right? and that has to do with the Pluto Saturn. Like he was very, very driven into his in his career. Jupiter is ruling the 7th house. That's quite good. And the 11th house in the second. Great for money. Fantastic for money. Fantastic for, acting and popularity, career success, and all that. What else can we say? Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. This Chiron is, I think that is one of the reasons why he was, I mean, yeah, of course, this fighting moon and this exalted, explosive Mars, but this shows a lot of hypersensitivity here in his public image. He even wore a hairpiece, even though he wasn't like embarrassed by it, like he outright admitted it. He did wear a hairpiece as he got older. Chiron his wounds, and his cancer was very public. He was public about it. Yeah, I think that's why he was like he had a certain sensitivity about his public image that he was very open about, but still there was public wounds, I guess you could say, public health issues, something like that. Anyway, if you have any comments about any of this, feel free to write it in the section below. I think that's pretty much it for John Wayne. We can see like super dignified, extremely powerful first house in Gemini. And it gives him that very quote-worthy, witty quality. Exalted Jupiter in the second house with the voice, exalted Mars in the 8th house, 8th, 9th. So bringing a lot of power and force and aggressiveness, and this quite mean moon, square Chiron, hypersensitivity and all that. And of course, the love of indulgence in the material things and hidden things and escapist things. It's also quite good for creativity. Venus in Taurus, in domicile in the 12th house, very good for creativity. So that's pretty much it for John Wayne. Very interesting chart, very powerful, very aggressive. So very iconic. Planets conjunct the IC will be iconic. They just make that because this is the self. It's the most visible, the most has the most presence. And he just has that sun quality. He's just a sun, sun in Gemini. All righty. That's it for now. If you enjoy this content, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and share. My couch keeps popping into the frame. Anyway, there's a fly. And if you want to book a reading, go to my website, macroastrology.com. Otherwise, I will see you guys soon. All right. Thank you. Bye.